people. Today I'm doing my Christmas nails, and I'm calling these purple ornaments, but basically they're a set of kitchen sink nails as I've thrown pretty much everything at them. So let's get started. Each finger is going to be a different color. Starting with this one, obviously. Now this one, the pinkies and the thumbs are both going to be the same color, but I'm not showing doing the thumbs, so just so you know. The accent nail is going to be this silver. Now, recently I had mentioned I had been working on a Christmas stocking for my son-in-law. I finally finished the stitching part of it, which was for me the easy part. So if you guys are interested, I have a picture of it at the very tail end of this. If you want to stay tuned, you can see that. Now I have the hard part to do, which is going to be sewing it together, which I'm hoping to get to tomorrow. So wish me luck. Actually, by the time you guys see this video, it will be done, hopefully, and I won't have had any issues. Anyway, I did not want to use traditional Christmas colors for my set this year again. I mean, last month I didn't either for my fall set. This time I'm not either for Christmas. I'm just being a rebel this year. So we're going to do them in purple, and here we are, ready for the second coat. Same as the first. Now I will tell you on the silver nail, the ring finger one, I did do 3 coats on that one because I wanted it to be more solid. So I'm not going to show the 3rd coat, but I did do it. If anybody follows me on Facebook, you would have seen earlier this week I posted a picture of all the product. I had pulled out a lot of my purple products with some silver thrown in, and I just had like a pile of this stuff. I took a picture of it and posted on my Facebook page and on my Instagram as to people to guess what I was going to do with all that stuff, and this is the result. So if you saw the picture, now you'll see the result. Okay, now we've done that, it's cured, we're going to move on. I've got all these different shaped frame bits, some big ones, some littler ones. We're going to be doing the silver ones today, and also those little Starburst deals. I've got big ones and small ones of those. We're going to use all that. Now, when I first started out with this, I was putting the nail glue just on the general shape of the item on my finger, and I ended up with way too much glue and a big gluey mess. So later on, I switched over to just holding the little frame piece there with the tweezer and then spreading the glue on the back of it and then putting that on, so I didn't end up with such a gluey mess. But you'll see as we go along what I'm talking about. And now we have the little one up there. And I did flash these on each finger when I was done getting those on because I was afraid they were going to move around if I tried to do them all at once. Also, I forgot to say at the beginning, this set took me 4.5 hours to do. Now, I'm shaving off a half an hour of that time because I also at the same time was making a few extra press-on nails so that I had some to take with me when I go out to my parents for the week before Christmas in case I have a catastrophe and I break or lose one of my nails out there and I'm away from my nail room and I don't have my stuff to fix it. I always I have a little emergency kit I take with me that has some replacements in there. I always take some extra crystals or whatever embellishments I glued on. I take some of those extra nail glue, all that kind of jazz, in case I have issues and things come off or I break something, like I said. There's nothing that I I hate more than having a nice set of nails and then you got one broken one or one you lose one and you can't replace it right away. And to me, that just looks super tacky. So I always try to, like when I'm away from home for a while, make sure I have what I need to do any kind of repairs that I might need to do. That little ring up there was being a pain in the butt. It did not want to get right side up for me. You'll be able to see on that circle one, you can see how there's a lot of excess glue. Now, if it's on the inside of the ring, it wasn't a big deal, but it squished out to the outside. And what I ended up doing on that one in particular was I took my E-file and a really fine little pointy bit, and I filed that excess glue off. And then when I clear coated, it looked fine. You didn't see it at all. So that's why I started doing the glue in a different way, because I was getting too much of a mess. Now, once we get past gluing these little rings, frame things onto my nails, I'm going to show you a lot of the rest of what I did on the press-on nails that I made as extras for myself, because it's just easier to show you that way instead of having to have my hands and stuff contorted in all these weird, awkward ways trying to do things and keep it in camera and all that nonsense. So that's why you're going to be seeing, after this couple more steps here, you're going to be seeing me switch to press-ons. And I know these little silver rings are not showing up very well on the silver background. I didn't account for that really, but on camera they don't show up a lot, but in real life you can see the stuff that's on the silver now, because we're going to be adding caviar beads that are also silver, and they're not going to show up on camera very well either. But in person they do look, you can see them and they do look good. Oh, and as a bonus, I'm fairly happy with how these came out too. That's 2 sets in a row. I don't know if I can handle that. But okay, these are the little Starbursts. I found some of these on AliExpress that were the metal ones, as opposed to painting them on, which I'll still do, but just if I wanted metal embellishments. We've got silver and gold, as you can see. And they wanted to be kind of a pain to get out. And those are going to go on the pinkies. As soon as I can get them to cooperate. Sorry if you got so much of my hands in here. I try to cut out as much of that as possible. And when we get this other guy on there, then we will be ready. Once that's cured, we'll be ready to move on to the next step. And it should be going in for curing. See, there's all that glue. I will take care of that later. Okay, now we're going to go on to filling in the different frames with different products. This is a mirror polish. This is a regular polish. This one is not gel, which created some issues for me, but was when I painted it on my own finger, I kept bumping it on stuff while I was trying to do other things while it was waiting for it to dry, because until I got it thoroughly dry, I couldn't top coat over it or do anything else with it. So I did bump it a few times and I had to go back over it, add some more. So that added on to the time. But anyway, as far as the time, like I said, I'm saying this is a 4-hour set. Took me 4.5 hours, but I shaved a half an hour off as I was also doing these press-ons at the same time. So that added some more time to it. Now, if I had to do these again on somebody else, I'm sure I could do them much quicker. The first time always seems to take a lot longer because usually I'm experimenting or I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing to do. Now, as you can see, that round circly bit was not flush to the nail, so the polish was kind of leaking out underneath that one. So I'm just cleaning this up with some alcohol and trying to clean it off of the silver frame part too. Eventually I'll be happy with that, but we need to make sure that that is thoroughly dried all the way through before we put any top coat or anything else on it. Otherwise it will wrinkle on you. Okay, we're moving on. Now we got Makartt. Yeah, I got a smorgasbord of different polish brands going on this set too. So this one is a hollow glitter in a kind of top, like a clear kind of top coat stuff. I'm just going to use that to fill in that little circle at the top of that one. And there we go. And then we're going to move on to, I think that Teardrop one was next. And we're using Beetles for that. And this is a glitter polish. All the rest of these polishes are gels except for that one mirror one that I showed you. Now the trick is to get these in here without getting it on the frame bit, because then you have to spend time cleaning it off of there. But you need to get it to spread out all the way to the edge of the frame part, hopefully without slopping over. So my cleanup brush was not cooperating either. I had little bits sticking out that was getting in the middle, making things worse. Okay, that other one, we're going to glue a crystal in there later, so we're not putting anything in there. We will next be moving on to the thumbnail. And we're going to use this Daisy brand Lush Lilac Star. I've had this for quite some time. I also have a regular polished version of this one. I've never used either of them. So I used the regular polished version of it on my toenails this time. And we're going to use this one for just filling in these little ovally braided frame ones. It worked quite nicely for that. I really need to come up with something to do with it where I can use it as a whole on my whole nail, because it really is a pretty purple glitter polish. And now I'm going to fill this in with No Wipe Top Coat, not the tempered top coat that I use a lot for finishing, but this is just the regular No Wipe Top Coat. And the reason I'm using this instead of the tempered one is because I'm going to put chrome on this one. And I discovered recently that the tempered one, the chrome doesn't seem to want to stick to it. I don't know why, but it didn't. So now I'm not taking any chances. I'm just using the regular no wipe. Also at the bottom of that one, I can see we don't have it all the way to the edge. It really needs to be, because once we put chrome on there, it's going to show up a lot if it isn't down to the edge. Okay, we're going to cure all those now. And moving on to the chrome powder, purple. This is a lighter purple. Now this one got a bit messier. I started off using the brush to get it on there before I rubbed it in and smoothed it out, and it just made a bigger mess that way. The other ones that I did on my actual thumbs, I did not use the brush. I just got a little of it on my finger and rubbed it in. It worked. It was a lot neater that way. See, now I have a big mess I got to clean off for the rest of the nail, which I am going to do here with alcohol on a lint-free wipe. Being careful not to touch where the chrome part is that I just did, because until I get a top coat on that, that chrome powder will wipe off fairly easily and or scratch. So you got to watch it. I'm thinking I may use that light purple chrome for my Valentine's nails this year. What I'm going to do with them other than that, I don't know, but it was just a pretty color and I liked it. So there we are, cleaned up. And I believe we are going to, okay, here's where we are so far with these. And that one, those have been cured. And now we are going to move on to top coating. Now this is the tempered top coat this time. And this stuff is rather thick. So I've got to get more used to it. You're going to see me doing a lot of extra brushing on here because I didn't want it to be like build up around the embellishments and have like a big huge bunch of it there. So I'm doing a lot of extra brushing off of excess on these. Now I will go over everything. You want to try to go over those frames and your polish and whatever else now, because the finish will wear off of those silver frame bits, and then it'll look black and ugly. So we want to top coat that to keep the finish on good. Same goes with your Caviar beads, which you'll see me deal with in a while here in a little bit. And that one is thoroughly dry too, so we can now top coat over that regular polish part. And this one will be the last one we do. You'll see the rest I will do off camera. Also, I wanted to try to clean the polish out of the center of that ring, that little ring, as much as possible, the top coat, because I didn't want to, we're putting a crystal in there and I wanted to sit down in. I didn't want it to be up on top where it has a better chance of getting knocked off. So we'll clean that out as much as possible before we cure. And we have done that and cured, and now we're moving on to the detail painting. Saviland painting gel. We're going to be using silver and then white. Starting with the silver, I'm just going to do a little bit of painting on the couple of the ornaments. Like this chrome one, I'm just going to paint some little tiny curly Q things in there. I just wanted to zhuzh it up a little bit, make it a little fancier than just having the plain chrome. And we're just going to paint 3 of these little curly Q things in there. Now, about maybe a year or so ago, if I had tried to do this, I would not have been able to do it because I could not get my fine lines to be, nice and smooth. They always were too fat. But I think I finally got a handle on painting finer lines now. They're not always the best, but I do get better eventually. It just takes me a while. I mean, if I were doing this on a daily basis, like a nail tech, I'm sure I'd be a lot better at this stuff by now, but as it is, I only do them once a week, unless I have extra ones to do, or unless I have orders to fill, which hasn't been happening yet. In case you guys are interested in any of the sets you see on here, they're all available on my website, which is now back up again. It's carlenescreation60.com. And I think we're going to be happy with that. That'll be ready for curing. And then we're going to move on to this one. Now this one I just painted some kind of squiggly lines and vertical stripes down this one down the center and then one on either side. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do there for a second, but I decided that would be something I could do that wouldn't be too difficult. And because this is gel paint, we don't need to top coat over it again. Although you could if you want to. You can't see it very well on camera, but the lines are definitely on there. Okay, and then we're changing over to white. And on this one, I am just going to paint kind of a snowy bit at the top with some little hangy down kind of icicle-y things. I did also do some little tiny dots like snow dropping down on the bottom here, but I didn't like them, so I took them back off again. So you won't see that part. And we need a little bit on that side because it looked weird at the end with nothing there. And I believe I'm happy with that. Okay, those are ready to cure, and there's where we are so far with those. And next we will be moving on to all the embellishments, and there's a lot of them. Okay, these are starting off with these little teeny tiny silver bows. I got these off AliExpress, and I've had these for a couple years now. I thought they were really cute, which is why I bought them, but I never could figure out what to do with them. So now I'm going to finally use them on something. I'm going to start off, we're using gem glue on all this stuff now. I'm going to give that a little bit more at the top, and then we've put some in that ring where we're going to go with some dark purple crystals in there. Well, with one dark purple crystal. But the little tiny bow is going to be at the top of this ornament. And I did place some of these on some of the other ones. I thought they were really cute on there. A lot of this stuff is harder to see on camera because it's shiny and the light's glaring off of it, so you can't see it as well. Okay, I see I have put the crystal in that one. I don't know how I lost the video portion of that, but it just stuck the purple crystal right in that little ring. It fit in there perfectly. And I've also lost the part where I put the, I don't know what happened to that. The caviar beads, as you can see up above there, are sitting there in a tiny lake of top coat. This is the tempered top coat. Now I put them in there and mixed them in so that it will give them a good coating of top coat without my having to top coat over them. And there's the hair. And that will keep the finish on them better. Now, I did not put my glue lines on there for these. At this one I forgot. But you'll notice, because they've already been top coated and they're shiny and smooth, that these things want to migrate around and keep moving. That's part of what took me so long to get these done. Everything kept moving and I had to keep straightening stuff out. I would get them all nice and neat, and then I'd get one line all straight and then the other one would move around again. So it did take me a while. There's a lot of fiddly stuff going on with this. If you're not into that kind of thing, then this is not going to be the set for you. But with some patience, eventually I got there in the end. Later, when I remember to put the gluey lines on, they don't move. They're not going to move around as much as this one is. This one was particularly being a pain in the butt. But I'm going to try to get them in line and have them behave. I left this in real time on all of this embellishment stuff today so you guys could see how long it actually does take to do this stuff. See, that one is completely moved over. Get back over there. Now it's crooked. There was a while when I was doing this where I felt like tearing my hair out. I was, gee whizzers, you guys did not want to cooperate today. I would get them all nice and lined up on that side, then the other side would be off, and then I had to go back and forth. I think this was the worst one of the bunch, and I believe it was because I didn't put my glue down on these first. I knew they were going to stick because they were completely coated top coat, but still. And the little one is all moved again. Okay, have we got it now? I think we might be ready to cure. Nope. I did flash these, each one as I was getting them done, or cure them, because I knew the stuff would just keep moving on me if I didn't do that. That one was particularly weird because it was kind of on the side of the curvy part and it wanted to keep sliding down. But now they're in for curing. Yay! I was happy to see the last of that one. And we will move on to something. What's it going to be? I believe it's going to be, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, man. Oh, I know what. Okay, I had ordered some gold and some silver crystals, and I happened to get those in the same day I was working on these. So I decided to use the smallest silver ones as my loopy chain that's going to go across the top that the things are going to be hanging off of. So that's what we're going to do on here. This is the middle finger. We're just going to put a gluey line across the top, basically how we want them. It's just going to be like kind of a short necklace chain, sort of. And then we'll make the hanging down parts out of caviar beads again. But we're going to go on with, eventually when I get my stuff together here, those little tiny silver ones. And once again, it gets a little hard to see some of the stuff because the light is glaring off of the shiny stuff. Now I did finish all these 3 press-ons first before I went back to deal with my own nails. So most of my own nail stuff you're not going to see as I did it off camera, but I will show you the pinky and the silver nail one because I didn't have press-ons for those. Oh, back to the Christmas stocking thing. I don't remember if I said. I did finish it, and I took a picture of it. It's not sewn together yet because, as I said, that's the hard part for me, which I'm going to try to tackle tomorrow. But it is finished being stitched, and it is at the very tail end of this video. So if you're interested, you can stay tuned to the end, and you'll see it. It's a counted cross stitch. And we're just going to get our lines on here for the caviar beads. I don't know if I ever mentioned, but I used to work as a professional stitcher many moons ago, where I worked for a company that made needlework kits. So it was my job they would give us the artwork, and then we had to interpret that into whatever needlework we were doing, whether it was counted cross stitch, needlepoint, embroidery, or whatever. That was a fun job. I enjoyed that. I also worked at that same company in order processing, and then at the last part of when I was there, I was doing customer service. So, but my favorite part was when I was actually getting to do the needlework. then I could bust out the needlework stuff really quick. Now it takes me some time. Plus I wasn't wearing long, I had nails on, but they weren't nearly this long. So it was easier to do. I did find doing needlework with these long nails had some hurdles, I guess. There was some getting used to working with them. The hardest part was threading the needle and being able to grab the needle and with one hand, change it to the other hand, and then grab the thread sticking out before it got pulled out of there. And I know that you're thinking, well, why didn't you use a needle threader? Because working with more than one ply of floss at a time, you can't get it. When it doubles over to pull through with the needle threader, it's too fat for the eye of the needle, and you can't do it that way. And some of the stitching on that piece required 5 ply at a time, which really was a fat lot of floss that I was not, really gave my hands a workout, because you have to pull it through. It's a lot harder to pull through. Anyway, that's not anything to do with nails, and I know you guys are probably not interested. Back to these. This one also is going to have the silver crystal chain across the top. This is the thumbnails now. And that kind of jumped a little right there because the alarm on my phone went off. And every time my alarm goes off on my phone, for whatever reason, it stops the recording. When I shut the alarm off, the recording stops. Also, that happens if I get a phone call while I'm recording, which is very aggravating. I don't know why it does that. That guy was flipped upside down, so now we can't use him because he's got top coat on the top of him, so he won't be sparkly now. We got to get rid of that guy off of there. Oh, I guess I did use him. Now that's another thing. If you top coat over your crystals, the top coat kind of fills in and rounds out the whole crystal, and you lose all those little faucets that are on there, and then they're not sparkly anymore. So you do not want to top coat over your crystals. Now you can top coat right up to the edge of them, and that top coat, like along the edge of them, that will help to hold them on. I usually don't have problems with my crystals coming off. As you can see on this one, I've used an abundance of glue. You don't need that much glue. Sometimes I often get carried away with the glue. And this one gave me some issues. I couldn't get my curvy line to look the way I wanted it. It just was looking too straight, and I just was not happy with it. So this one I had played around with for quite some time. And then I ended up with a big gluey mess at the top of there. So at some point before I cure it, I will go in with a cleanup brush and get that excess glue off that top section up there above the crystal line. Just trying to straighten them or get my curve where I'm happy. Now some of these I just went for the whole thing in one go, but when I did the ones on my actual hands, like while I got the crystal line at the top, then I was flashing that before I moved on to the string, the hanging down parts, because I knew moving around and doing things, I would either end up bumping it or it would just slide around from my hands being, contorted in all these weird ways. So we're going to put caviar beads again. Oh, first I'm going to add a little bow to this one too. I need to figure out something else to do with these little bows because they really are cute. Once I got this one on here, and once I can pick it up and I go to put it on, I was having issues with them. They didn't want to let go of the tweezers, did not want to let go of them, and I don't really know why because I didn't have glue on my tweezers, so I don't know what was up, but they just did not want to get off of there. and they weren't sticking into the glue enough at one time for them to come off. So plan B, use my own nail. So look how cute that little bow is on top of there. I did think of maybe doing a French tip on a set of nails with some crystals around the smile line with maybe one of those little bows off to one side up on the smile line or along in there somewhere. But I never got around to doing that yet. Maybe I will tackle that at some point. Now you'll notice how these are not sliding all over the place like that first one because there's a glue line there now for them to stick on. So it's not as big of a pain. Now my top crystals are not, you see they've moved again on me. I think we might be happy with this now, or no, maybe not. I don't know, let's see. Nope, I'm going to move those around a little more. See, I lost my curve on the ends, that's what happened. So they got looking kind of straight again. Okay, now I'm going in with alcohol on my cleanup brush and getting that gluey mess off the top that I made. And that's going to get cured. And then I decided I wanted to add a little bit down here at the bottom of that one. Now also, I did not show, but at the end I did go back with top coat and go over some of these again just to, clean up and cover over some of the gluey spots. I did not show that though. And I'm going to add a couple of the caviar beads to either side, and then we're going to put a little triangle of them at the bottom of there. And I'm out of shot, so you can't see it, but eventually it's going to move up. There we go, sort of. Now it's not centered right. We'll have to straighten it out. Straighten out. Get those tucked back up there. And trying to clean off some of the excess glue mess that I've made. And those guys are moving a little bit. Oh, for Pete's sake. Some fool on a motorcycle going through here. We get a lot of that over here. Now we're ready to cure. Woohoo! Okay, now we're on to the pinky nail. We're basically just going to do a straight line of caviar beads up from both of these to the top. Now on my other pinky nail, I added one of the little bows at the top of the big Starburst, and then put the caviar beads on. Because when I got done with this one, I thought it looked a little plain. So I had to go and add extra more stuff to it. And straighten them out. And a few on that side. Also, a piece of advice when you're doing stuff on your own nails like that, make sure you look at them from the top view like that, but also look at them straight on with your fingers bent forward on your hand, because you'll get a different perspective. A lot of times when you see them from straight down, you looks like you got stuff centered, but then when you look at them the other way, you can tell that it's not centered. So see, turn them this way, and you'll be able to see things are not, maybe not where you thought they were. Like the top of that one is now shifted over a little bit. We need to straighten it back out. And then I will flash that one or cure it. Whichever, I forget what I was doing. Okay, now we're moving on to the silver one. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. We are going to do 2 straight lines up to the top with caviar beads, and then I decided to add a little triangle of caviar beads on the bottom of each of those. Now, in hindsight, I'm wishing that I had brought the longer one down farther, and then I could have squeezed 3 of those onto one nail instead of just the 2. I think that would have looked nicer, but I did not plan that out very well. So possibly if I had to make this set for somebody else, I probably would add 3 on that one, because I just think it would look more balanced and be nicer looking. It would fill that up a little bit more, give it a little bit more purple on there, so it's not so silvery. Nothing against silver, I love silver, but it needed to be broken up a little bit more, I think. As you'll notice, I very often will do silver caviar beads or embellishments as opposed to gold, because I really don't care for yellow gold myself. So I tend to not use it unless I feel like it's really called for something. I am a silver or platinum or white gold girl. So just saying. And we're going to add the little 3 ones at the bottom of there. I just felt like they needed a little something. You really, on camera, cannot see the silver frame around those. And I don't recall, I don't know what happened to the video part that I had those on, where I showed, that was the daisy purple glitter polish that I filled those oval little frames with on those. It really worked quite nicely for that. And once I am happy with those, and we're done. They've been cured and we're done. And here we have them all. If you like this set, please give me a like. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see more, I do upload new video every Saturday. I really like the thumbs. Those are my favorite part. Anyway, if you want to subscribe, I upload every Saturday, like I said. And if you want to stay tuned for just a second more, you will see my counter cross stitch piece that I am going to attempt to put together tomorrow. I do appreciate your watching my videos. There it is. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.